They think these things through. They actually do have scripts set up. They know how to utilize technology. They know how to utilize the system to mask themselves, to hide behind technologies and fake emails and fake phone numbers so that it makes it more difficult for us to catch the bad guys.
That's Brian Dunham, a detective in the Major Crimes Unit in the Taunton Police Department. I was fortunate to sit in on a meeting with Detective Dunham as he shared the details of some prevalent scam attempts that are happening in our communities right now. And though I had something else planned for this Mini Money Minute, I had to interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to get the word out about these scams and who they are targeting.
The main thing that we're seeing is that a lot of these victims tend to be part of our elderly community. And I think that the reason why the elderly community is targeted is because kind of in general, they're not as comfortable with the modern technology, with computers and emails and cell phones and things like that. And they tend to be a little intimidated by modern technology. Not everybody, but just in general. So I think that the suspects feel like they have a better chance of succeeding in their fraudulent efforts by targeting the elderly folks.
We all have loved ones or neighbors who might fall into this category, so we need to work to spread the word to prevent more victims. There will always be new scams, but the more we normalize talking about these situations and taking the shame out of falling victim, the less we will be victimized. Listen to the fear tactics this first scammer uses on the couple Detective Dunham describes here.
The first incident that we had started out as what we believe was a malware attack on a computer.
Malware is short for malicious software, and basically it's software that gets installed on your computer like a virus in order to hack into your accounts.
So what we suspect is that at some point, whether a social media or an email, they clicked on something that they probably shouldn't have, which put some malware on their computer. And that malware laid in wait until our bad guys decided to activate it. And when they did, what happened was a pop-up window on their computer popped up and told them that their computer had been compromised or that they had been compromised, and it identified them as being Microsoft and told them that they needed to contact a phone number because their account, there had been $27,000 taken from their bank account, converted into cryptocurrency, and that cryptocurrency was being used to finance a child pornography website. Now, I'm sure you can understand that these elderly folks hearing that were incredibly concerned. They're upstanding citizens in our community, and obviously their reputation is something that they want to protect. So hearing that and seeing that, obviously they were very concerned. And additionally, some of the details that with this particular incident is that while they were on the phone with these bad guys, they were told that they had also been flagged by the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, and that during this whole interaction that they were not allowed to use any other televisions, computers, or cell phones, because if they did, they would be flagged and all this information would actually go public. So the bad guys actually kept this couple on the phone for over 10 hours while they were out making the withdrawals from the bank. And ultimately, the bad guys coordinated a pickup of the money at their residence where somebody pulled up, they handed this guy the money, and off the money went.
The money was $27,000. The scammers were actually so bold that they attempted to contact the victims the next day, but by then, the victims realized that they were just that, victims of a horrible scam. After hearing this story, some of you might be thinking, how could they not know this was a scam? That's what's amazing about perspective. The saying hindsight 2020 means that once you know something, you can see it perfectly. But in the moment, with the level of detail and fear, you can really get caught up, especially when scammers get personal. Listen to Detective Dunham's account of this scam.
The second one that we had was still for a significant amount of money, but somewhat less. This one was for $5,400. This is one that we see quite a bit. This is what we call the grandchild in jail scheme. So this particular elderly woman, she actually received a call from a random number. The person on the other end of the line identified himself as an attorney and told her that her grandson had been involved in a motor vehicle accident, and it was a significant motor vehicle accident, and that because of the serious nature of it, he was under arrest, and his bail was $5,400. So he asked her if she wanted to bail him out. Of course, being the good grandmother, she said she was going to help. So he gave her instructions on how to go about going to the bank, taking out the money. One of the things that we often see is that the bad guys will tell our victims when they go to the bank, don't tell them what the money's for. If the bank asks, tell them that it's for a renovation to a kitchen, or they're redoing a bathroom or some kind of home improvement, so that the banks don't become suspicious. It's sad and it's, it's unfortunate. So I thought that getting together and talking with you and maybe making people understand that they could be a victim as well, at least if there's some increased awareness out there, maybe we could save somebody from suffering the same kind of victimization.
With both of these scams, Detective Dunning and his team uncovered that Uber and Lyft drivers were sometimes unknowing participants in the scams, as they were hired to pick up money. They also discovered that these scams are happening right here where we live, but they often involve rings of individuals from out of state and even out of the country.
Not only is the fear real, but these criminals are incredibly organized. They're very savvy. They have these scripts that take into account all these objections. They have explanations for every objection that a victim could come up with, and they make it sound very legitimate.
Although these scams are targeting older Americans, it's important to note that younger people, ages 20 to 29, report losing money to fraud more often than older people, ages 70 to 79. Are younger people actually victims to more fraud, or are they just reporting it more? I'm no detective, but my hunch is that older people just aren't reporting it because they're ashamed. Nobody wants to report that they made a mistake, but when you're over 70, it actually feels risky to report it because of the what ifs. What if people think I'm not okay? What if my family won't let me stay in the house alone anymore? What if they take my car, my house, my freedom? These are real fears for this generation. Not only do we need to spread this information so our friends and neighbors are aware of these insidious crimes, but also so that we don't shame this generation or anyone for falling victim to this kind of organized crime, because that's what it is. And victims of any kind should not be blamed or shamed. I asked Detective Dunham if there was anything else he would like to share.
Yeah, I would just encourage people to talk to their families, maybe, come up with a plan if something like this, maybe they get a strange phone call. Just remember that legitimate companies aren't going to just call you up out of the blue and start asking for very detailed, specific information. Follow your gut. If you think something's not right, listen to it. We try to be there to help people. If you have any questions, I would encourage anybody who thinks they might be actively being scammed, just call us.
Reporting these crimes is important, and so is learning how to spot them. At Rockland Trust, we've produced videos called Spot the Scam, and they're on our website in the Learning Center. Through these videos, you can learn how to spot scams on your phone, in your home, and on the internet. In the meantime, thank you for listening and sharing this very important Mini Money Minute from Rockland Trust, member FDIC, the bank where each relationship matters, where we want you to have a healthy relationship with money at any age.